Hey, you guys, what's going on? It's your boy Nate. Appreciate you tuning in today. We're going to jump into today's topic, and that is going to be on what do you do if she wants to have sex with you? All right. Now, if you haven't been on this channel yet, one, I want to say welcome. Two, I want to say this is a channel geared towards guys finding a good woman. All right. Hopefully, a wife. If you're religious, hopefully, a godly wife. Right. And I want to alert men on some of the crazy things out there they can experience and just some common themes I see across the board that a lot of guys just, and myself included, I've been here, where you overlook them, where it's very easy to say, oh, it's not a big deal, or, oh, I'll just kind of try it out. No, guys, learn from other people, learn from people who've been through it, right? You don't have to put yourself through all this craziness. So, guys, what do you do if she wants to have sex, right? Let's say you met a girl. Let's say that she is just everything you've ever wanted. Let's say that she's pushing for it, right? What do you do? Now, what I would want to say to this is, in a sense, this shouldn't happen in the first place, all right? What I mean by that is when you start dating a girl, guys, you can call it old school, I don't care, but you need to set the tone of the relationship. You need to filter these girls out ASAP. You need to stop walking on coals, figuring out if you can get burned or not. You need to lay down the law, basically what you live by, as soon as you can. You don't have to tell her to do anything. You just tell her your standards. So you need to frame it when you guys are dating like, hey, just want to let you know, I'm looking for marriage. I'm not going to have sex before marriage. I'm not going to push you into a position that is going to be uncomfortable for you, or is going to put you in a compromising situation. That's not what I'm here for. Guys, you think you're just going to scare off every single woman out there. You're going to turn a lot of them off. Don't get me wrong. But you're also going to make sure that the good ones stay behind. Now, some women are going to play the long game. Some women are going to be like, oh, wow, this guy's not just pushing for sex. Because let's face it, guys, even if women are sleeping with guys on the first date, a lot of them would like to find a guy that doesn't just push, that they can actually have a connection with, a long-term relationship with. Even loose women, hoes, whatever you want to call them, they want to have long-term relationships with a guy. It's just they can't because they're not in that frame of mind. Okay, that's for another video. But what do you do if she's coming on to you strong, right? Let's say you lay down the law. Let's say you guys have progressed in dating and she's coming on to you strong, guys. Well, you gotta relay down the law. You gotta say, hey, look, this isn't what I'm here for. Like, I really like you and stuff, but hey, this isn't gonna be the way I go. Guys, I would also caution you, if this is the case, this woman has probably had a lot of sexual partners, or she's just had a lot of sex in general. And this is where you got to really look at the character, okay? And hopefully you guys are in a good Christian community. Hopefully you're around a lot of, upstanding godly women. But I'm going to be straight up with you guys. If she is pushing you for sex, and this is crazy that we're talking about this, right? Because normally women are the ones saying, oh, if you want sex. No, guys, we have to reframe things, all right? Women use sex to control men. Women use sex to take men captive, all right? Guys, all it takes is one time, and all of a sudden, you are in charge of someone else's life, of some little child's life for 18 years, maybe more if they go to college, right? You never know, okay? Also, some women, as soon as you have sex with them, will be extremely clingy, extremely protective, extremely jealous. So then you got to have that whole other can of worms, right? Plus, once you start having sex, it's very hard to stop having sex, especially if you're in the relationship, all right? Kind of weird how that works, right? It's almost like God made us to, have sex with somebody and keep having sex with that person, right? It's almost like there's this thing called pair bonding, and there's all these different, neurochemical reactions and things that happen in the brain that want to keep you together and relieve stress and bond two people together. Crazy how that works, right? They call sex is like the emotional glue, right? Sex isn't everything, but it's a lot. So, guys, this woman, she's probably had sexual partners and stuff. Now, here's the other thing, guys. Some people, they just do have a high libido, all right? That's just a fact. Or maybe you're dealing with a woman where she has, maybe she's lived a life before, and this is just something that's very difficult for her, right? Maybe you're an attractive dude. You just press all her buttons and she wants to get it on. Guys, again, you have to make a judgment call here. You have to figure out, okay, does this woman have every other trait that I'm looking for? If so, the Bible does talk about this. It says that if you guys burn with passion, it's better to get married than to keep burning with passion. I would dare say there are relationships out there that have failed because people have not gotten married. Because people have pushed it too long. All right. Now I know that flies in the face of a lot of like really like ultra conservative, ultra traditional people, and a lot of people who say that, well, sex isn't everything. Guys, that is a lie, because if people step out of a marriage because of infidelity, they've been doing studies recently that show that, in fact, there was a study that came out where they went around, they asked women, if you could have another partner besides your husband or your, long-term boyfriend, if you could have another partner, what would be the one trait, what would be the one thing that you want him for, right? A lot of people would think that women would say, oh, I want a man who is a millionaire, right? I want a man who is, way more rich than my husband, or, is like a super popular political figure, something, right? You know what the answer was? Over 70% of the answers, and I would dare say probably more in reality, but over 70% of the answers were, the women said that they would want another partner just for sex. So guys, if you don't think sex is a big deal to your woman, you need to learn some things, all right? I'm not saying you got to go around, sow your oats, and be with a bunch of women to learn how to have sex, but I'm saying stop being ignorant, learn how human biology and physiology works, learn how to turn a woman on, actually figure out what turns your woman on, and again, this is if you're married, like actually do the work, okay? I know for guys it's easy. I know for most of us it's just like, it can just be a quick 2-5 minute thing. But in reality, you need to figure out what pushes your woman's buttons, because they want sex just as much, if not more, than we do as men. Especially if she respects you, she looks up to you, she finds you attractive. If you push all her buttons, guys, she wants to have mind-blowing sex with you. All right? So going back to the main point, if she's pushing for sex, let's say you guys haven't had sex, right? If she's pushing for sex, okay, on one hand, it's sort of a compliment, right? But if this is going to be a deal breaker for her, guys, you need to let her go. Because here's what happens if you don't, or if you cave into it, okay? A bunch of different things are going to go on. You're going to always be, one, regretting it because you guys didn't wait. Two, again, you're going to build that bond. You're going to initiate that bond, that chemical reaction that you can't take back, right? Three, guys, this is going to open you to a lot of issues potentially in your relationship for the future. In the back of your mind, you're always going to be wondering, okay, they did that with me. Now, who else have they done this with? Who else have they pressured into sex? Who else has had sex with them based out of, guilt, or based off of feeling like they have to, right? If that's going to be a deal breaker, guys, it's going to be a deal breaker. But you have to really judge the character of someone to figure out, okay, if you should marry this person, if it's, like you have to weigh the options here. Because here's the other thing, guys. If you do this and then you end up getting married and having a good relationship, if sex is a really big deal, but if someone's not taking the sanctity of marriage seriously, you're always going to be wondering in the back of your mind if this person's going to step out on you, right? You're always going to be wondering if they're going to be pressuring other people or asking other people, right? You're always going to be wondering in the back of your head, like, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Maybe they were just trying to get something from me. And guys, one of the things a lot of us overlook, especially as men, is the power of sex, right? It is true that women will be in more of a submissive role when it comes to sex, right? Because women are usually a lot more vulnerable when it comes to sex, okay? I know we live in this day and age where sex is seen as sort of like a handshake. It's seen as something really casual. But ultimately, a woman is making herself pretty vulnerable when she has sex, okay? Because men biologically are, 99% of the time going to be more, physically capable, stronger than her, right? She's opening herself emotionally in ways that, even as men, we're not necessarily wired to do that. So if she's pushing for it, again, if she's coming off as like a loose type of woman, guys, there's probably something that's not emotionally there, okay? There's probably something that's not emotionally stable, okay? She is looking at sex as either some sort of Band-Aid or some sort of, pseudo glue. Like I said, with marriage, glue, sex is a glue, right? She's going to be looking at it as more of just a casual, let's have fun, let's just do it type of thing. But I want to talk about the other side of this, because while it's true that women are vulnerable, more vulnerable mostly with sex, guys, there's also another side to this, okay? And this is something that a lot of men are waking up to. But guys, women use sex to control you. Women will use sex to keep you in line. That is why you have heard it said that even in good relationships, even when there is a mutual respect and both people, both husband and wife, they love the sex, that's why it's still said that a woman controls the sex, right? If you are with the wrong type of woman, she will use that to control you. She will use that to get what she wants. She will use that over you. And what you guys don't realize, and until it's too late or you listen to other people's stories, is, guys, you can have bomb, by what I mean, bomb, like amazing, right? Like you can have bomb monkey sex, right? You can just be swinging from the rafters, having all sorts of crazy sex. But women know that most guys are wired to just fall head over heels for sex, right? Especially when they meet a woman that they think super attractive, that they just, if a woman can pick up on, like, okay, this guy's taking me out, he's actually asking about my life, we're getting to know about each other, he's spending a lot of time with me. Guys, these women are going to use that to lock you down. They're going to use that to get married as soon as possible. They're going to use that so that they can make sure that they have a long-term relationship with you. But as soon as you get married, how many stories have you heard where a guy gets married to a woman that he was having amazing sex with, right? She's a porn star in the bedroom. As soon as they get married, the sex dries up. There's even stories out there that say that they were having amazing sex the night before they got married. As soon as they got married, all of a sudden the wife, she stops doing certain things in bed, or just stops everything completely, and will only, she'll only have sex very rarely, if ever again, right? That's a really scary thought, okay? Especially for a guy, okay? Now, I understand there's certain situations where, men can change when they get married, right? Especially for women who might be a little bit more sexually reserved, or virgins who are waiting for marriage. And all of a sudden the guy gets married and all he wants is sex, and, he becomes just a complete, asshole, a complete narcissistic, demon. But guys, I don't think that's as common as people want you to believe it is, because at the end of the day, women do hold a lot of power when it comes to sex. So you have to make sure that she's going to be able to check all the other boxes in your life, okay? So if she's pushing for sex, guys, again, you have to understand that a majority of the time it's going to be to have power, okay? She's going to want to control you. She's going to want to hold it over your head to use, she knows that if she has sex with you that you're going to feel really good, right? And granted, she's going to feel really good too, right? She's going to have that emotional connection. She's going to have that feeling of being wanted, that feeling of closeness. But what's scary, guys, is some women are so disassociated with the act itself, with the act and the emotions, that it's so fleeting that as soon as the sex is over, that's it. And you might have a woman who just keeps wanting to have sex over and over and over. And at first you think it's cool, but then you're like, okay, this is getting old. There's something off here. Like, I can't keep going back to back, right? Like, there's a time and a place, right? But you can't let that be everything. You cannot let sex become an idol. All right? You really can't. Even if you're married, guys, you can't let sex become an idol. Sex can't be the centerpiece of your marriage, right? So be very vigilant of women who want to push for sex, because, guys, I know there's the saying out there, that guys are just pigs and all they want is sex. Guys, women want sex too, and when they want sex, they will make it very obvious, okay? And so the best way you can have sex is in a committed marriage where a woman really finds you attractive and you find her attractive. You guys can have all the sex in the world. But be very, very careful. Be very, very careful. Guys, I can't say that enough, because I think what's happening these days, and this is a channel that's mainly geared towards guys who want to grow, especially spiritually, but if you're not spiritual, this still applies to you. I believe that these days we are seeing a lot of men give up who they are for sex. And we're seeing men basically just live their life to get sex, right? You have so many guys who are desperate for attention because they feel like they're being left out, or that they're ugly or whatever, that they can't have sex. They're never going to have sex. And so, they'll spend tons of money. They'll spend tons of time. They'll go head over heels. Some men will beg. Some men will plead. Some guys will just do anything they can to have sex because they think that that's the be end, all of everything. And guys, it's not, especially for guys who are hooked on porn. I get it. I have my struggles too. I've had really bad struggles in the past, started at a young age. Thankfully, the Lord is calling me out of that and sanctifying me as time goes on. And I want to let you guys know that there is freedom in that, okay? You can't do it by yourself. You have to rely on His power and the Spirit for that to happen. But realize that when you are addicted to porn, that you are going to be much more inclined to want to have sex with women. Part of it is the control, part of it is the pleasure, part of it is also the connection and the intimacy that you want, okay? Don't believe in this, you can just be some, animal and have sex and not have any feelings or emotions. Guys need intimacy too, believe it or not. All right, that's why we're supposed to have one wife. That's why women are supposed to have one husband. Okay, I don't believe in the polyamory crap. Okay, trust me, one woman is enough. Okay, but guys, realize that women know the game. They understand how things work. They understand how society is and all that. You have a lot of women who are in power, who are abusing their power, who are sexually exploiting men too in the workplace, just in everyday life. There's women who have men who divide men up into categories. They have one man that takes them out on dates and they have sex with. You have other men that they just have really good sex with, right? They have a man that can do this thing in bed or that thing, or makes them feel this way. Or guys, women know how things work, okay? It's not just men who are using and abusing sex, okay? Sex is, in a sense, if it is not used correctly, it can become a tool of power. All right, again, it's a very intimate act. Don't let people persuade you to think it's just some handshake or just some physical act for temporary pleasure, guys. It's a big deal, okay? Even if you've had sex with somebody one time, you're never going to fully forget, unless I guess you have Alzheimer's or something. You're never going to fully forget that experience, okay? It's not just constantly there in the front of your mind 24/7, but that's something that you live with. I believe that there is some sort of spirit tie, soul bond, and only God can deliver you from that. But you still have the memories, right? You still have that in your mind. And once you find that person that you really love, that you want to actually sacrifice for, that biblical sacrifice of love, you are going to wish you didn't have sex. You're going to wish you waited till marriage, okay? Everybody's always said this. Everybody who is a believer, who's a Christian, who's a follower of Christ has always said, man, I wish I would have waited till marriage, if they've already, had sex. And even marriages, right? Even people who got married who had sex before, they said they wish they would have waited, right? It's a really great thing if you can wait. And if you can't, again, guys, be in a position where you can get married. You don't have to have this crazy retirement account set up and a crazy big house and 2 cars and a bunch of money in savings. You don't have to have all these things to get married, right? The Lord will provide a way. I'm not saying be financially stupid, right? But I'm saying that if it's getting to a point where, if she's pushing for sex and, it's not even about the physical, right? But it's like you both are wanting it, but you're trying to stay away, right? You got to make that judgment call. Hopefully you won't have to get to that point, and hopefully you won't just get married to have sex, right? But I'm saying it really just depends, but I would say majority of the time you need to watch out, because she understands how powerful sex can be, and she understands that it can be used to control you. And guys, if she's really pushing to have sex that much, then, you know, she probably knows that if you have sex with her, then you're going to get married or whatever. And she probably has a lot of baggage or things that you need to figure out first beforehand. So guys, there's a lot that goes into this. There's not like really a one size fits all answer to it. It's going to be a case by case basis, but just know that if somebody's pushing you for sex, you could be a woman watching this, right? If somebody's pushing you for sex, if they're just like, hey, if you don't have sex with me, I don't even want to be in a relationship with you, guys, you're in a relationship with a manipulator. You're in a relationship with someone who cannot sanctify their flesh, who cannot put off their desires, who is going to want to control you and use you, straight up. So be careful out there, guys, and I hope this helps. If you have any comments or concerns, let me know in the comments below, but I'll see y'all at the next one.